And then the next guy we're going to talk about is Jeremy Rodriguez, who they managed to get in the, it's looking kind of a steal for the Mets. They traded Tommy Pham and they get Jeremy Rodriguez back. Jeremy Rodriguez is a more fluid athlete. I think there's better swing decisions in there. And that's ultimately why we decided to rate him as a 45 and like a higher 45 than the two guys we talked about earlier. I'll start with you here, Matt. What do you think Jeremy Rodriguez's ultimate ceiling is, and what are your thoughts are on him?
So was traded straight up for Tommy Pham, 1-for-1. We very rarely see that with a guy as lower in the minor leagues as he was. The lower levels swapped at the deadline in 2023 for a major league player. Had 1-for-1, which is interesting. But the thing with Rodriguez, and especially in comparison to Baez, we just talked about, he's the more, I use this word nicely, the more boring prospect of the two. Lacks the upside as Baez, but the swing decisions and the approach for Rodriguez are there. He's going to stick at shortstop. I think that's one of the best things about him is his eventually above average to plus defense. Just gap power right now. Um, Left-handed hitter, get good frame, good physicality, good build, good just good plate skills, handles his own well, can run. I mean, he does a lot of really good things. Doesn't have that plus tool that maybe a Baez will eventually have, but I think his stability and just being a steady hand at a potential very important defensive position is why he is where he is on this list.
Yeah, and what do you think that the fantasy upside for him is, Drew?
It's difficult because he is essentially the inverse of Baez. There's a lot more stability, and Matt very succinctly said it. It's certainly boring, but I think that it's almost like different flavors of soda, right? If we can stick to our ongoing trend of discussing the kitchen while we're talking prospects, I do think that Rodriguez. It is certainly boring. Matt is not wrong, but I think that a hit tool is something that, if that's his finest tool, if good defense, a good runner, if he's all these things just good, that has utility infielder written all over it. And as we've said 1,000 times, fantasy output is one thing, but being a credible, likely major leaguer is another. And granted, this is at rookie ball levels, but Jeremy Rodriguez looks like he could be a credible major leaguer, whether or not there's fantasy impact. Now, that being said, I think that Jeremy Rodriguez could be a fine source of stolen bases and plate appearances, potentially even a batting average boost in deeper fantasy leagues, your sicko mode leagues, as we've come to know them for the current moment. Obviously, if he does add some more muscle and some more power, that could trend upwards. I'm curious what your thoughts are on Rodriguez, Reese.
I think that you guys, to use the like food analogy, he's kind of just like he's like there's like a solid floor to him. There's nothing really exciting, but it's a bunch of ingredients. It's kind of like mashed potatoes. There's a high ceiling for it. There's not a low floor for it, I guess, unless there's really bad mashed potatoes out there, which I feel bad for people who have had really bad mashed potatoes. Because Jeremy Rodriguez, he kind of just there's the ability to play shortstop. It's kind of like a Geraldo Perdomo sort of like
Yeah.
profile where you can play shortstop. That's where all your value comes from. And then in a fantasy sense, he could just put up 450 plate appearances just because there's just an opportunity for extended run. And with plate appearances comes some sort of fantasy value. Even if you're hitting seventh or eighth,